Hello, my name is Stella and this is my horse Sam. Sam is a full-blood Clydesdale and he is one of the horses that I do most of my work with. Today I would like to share with you something that God is working in my life about. He has been working on this forever. And horses have often come in. This is what I do for work. I teach kids and adults how to ride and how to vault. And God uses them to teach me stuff. So I would like to use Sam learning a new activity today to try and share with you as an object lesson about what is God teaching me about. Today Sam is going to learn how to stop at the mounting block over there by remote control. Here in the COVID era, we are just about to start opening up to private lessons, but of course we have to still do physical distancing, and so Sam is going to have to stop at that mounting block with me several meters away from him, and he's going to have to stand there while someone gets on and off. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that, and then I'll come back and talk to you more about how that applies to me and my relationship with God. So in horse training, the basic principle is that you make the right answer easy and the wrong answer uncomfortable. Ooh. Good boy. Good boy. You can see him looking to me for guidance because this is unusual. So we're going to make that spot at the mounting block really comfortable. That's where he gets to stand and rest. And while he's out here on the circle and walk is a little bit of hard work. Now Sam is already familiar with the mounting block in terms of mounting riders. Walk on. But he is used to the handler being right beside him, telling him where to be. And walk. Step up. Step up. Good boy. So now we're going to increase the time that he's willing to spend there. And you can see him continuing to look at me, saying, is this right? What would you like me to do next? This is strange. Ooh. Good boy. Walk on. And the point is, he has to wait for my next command before he does anything. And walk. Ooh. Good boy. Stand. Good. And walk. So now we're going to make it a little bit the next stage, a little bit more complicated. Kim is up there, and she's pretending to be the rider or vaulter who's going to get on. And so it's a little bit more complicated for Sam because his job is still to listen to me. Even while she's going to pet on him and rub on him and, generally be involved. But his job is still to listen to me and wait for my next cue. Walk on. So as you can see, Sam took to that fairly quickly. And part of that is because he knew the ground rules. He knows that standing at the mounting block is already a comfortable place from his previous training when I lead him up there myself. He was a very good boy about keeping his focus on me and waiting for my cues when Kim was up there distracting him. So I feel confident and ready to start with most riders in a private lesson, physically distanced. When you train a horse, I find that, or for me anyway, the object lesson is how God deals with us. Sometimes in the Bible it's called testing or trials, but the other T word I prefer is training. And if we choose to listen, if we make the right choice to be engaged and hear his voice, we can better make the right choices on how to follow him. For example, in my life, God is often dealing with my pride. And as I've been reading through the Bible this year, Dave Craig challenged us to read through the Bible, and I have been. We're stuck in the middle of Chronicles, and so we've been through the Kings and the Chronicles and these books of genealogies, and basically the reoccurring theme is Israel obeyed, God favored them and blessed them, then a new king came in and they fell away, and they raised the Asherah poles, and they worshipped at the high places, and they fell away from God. And God punished them, and sometimes he used the other nations, the worldly nations, to conquer them. Babylon came in and conquered them. I'm thinking of Manasseh in 2 Chronicles 33 that I just read this morning. Towards the end of his life, he fell away from the Lord. He disobeyed the Lord, and he was conquered. He was taken captive to Babylon. They put a hook in his nose, and they bound him in shackles, the king. And he cried out to the Lord in his distress. And the Lord heard him and freed him from Babylon and took him back to his country and blessed him more than he had even before the whole episode. In my pride, when I start getting too big for my boots, as it were, the Lord has always found a way to call me back. And sometimes that's really uncomfortable. Sometimes that's a stress in the business, decisions that I have to make. Sometimes that's world situations, COVID, let's lock it down and not let her teach any riding lessons. Sometimes it's within the family and broken relationships. And if I am really honest with myself, it is often coming down to my pride, my sense of self-reliance, my sense of I can do it better, I might as well do it myself. Just call it I, right? My sense of I. And the Lord has revealed that in my life, brought that to my consciousness, and over and over, you look up in a concordance, humble yourself. And a lot of it has to do with the nation of Israel. But it applies to us Christians. Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and he will bless you. He calls us to be obedient. He calls us to make the right choices, like Sam stopping at the mounting block. And when we obey him, we have peace, the peace that passes all understanding. That's a fruit of the Spirit. That doesn't mean it's not hard times. COVID is still here, and I'm only just now thinking about teaching some lessons, which is going to be hard. But in the hard situations, I can still claim that peace. I can still know that peace that God provides, because I know that I am walking in line with him in what his authority, what his will is, what his wishes are for my life. And when you're not walking that straight and narrow path, there's a lot of lumps and bumps and roads, and the fruit of the Spirit is not manifest in your life. It's a pretty good trial or a test to know, am I right or am I wrong? Because God doesn't write on walls so much anymore, does he? How do I know the will of God for my life? But it's about the heart. If your heart is listening, if you have that look like Sam had on his face when he turned to look at me like, Mom, is this right? When you look at God in the face like that, Papa, is this right? Then you will know that you are in the right. Because as long as you're looking away and daydreaming with out the door or the sound of the birds or whatever and not looking in the face of God, you can't hear him. And with more practice, the more you stop and listen, the easier it gets. I'll share just one more thing. About 15 years ago, I was convicted right to like my very core being to attend Bible study. And I grew up in a Christian church, don't get me wrong, I knew it was the right thing to do. But about 15 years ago, God said, get involved in a small group, get involved with Bible study. Okay, Thursday nights, after a long week of work, I admit I fell asleep in Elizabeth's living room more often than I stayed awake and participated. But she pressed in. Her and Dave Craig loved on me. They provided me great snacks because, she's good at that. She even provided me meals to make sure I showed up after work, fed me supper, and made sure I got there. And 15 years later, I'm now in a Thursday morning ladies' Bible study, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. Practically speaking, morning is better for me, but it is still a spiritual discipline. God calls us to live in community. God calls us to live in relationship with Him, but with others as well. And here, when we're supposed to be physically isolating and distancing ourselves from others, us introverts can sometimes kind of celebrate and get really comfortable in that, and it's not such a struggle. The bigger struggle is to continuing to obey and to call those people, Zoom with those people, stop on the side of the road with a stranger at 6 feet away and still say hello, how are you? Make eye contact in the grocery store when we're all like worried about germs and so on and so forth. What does it take to press in and create that intentional community, which I still roll my eyes out because it's such a cliche word, but that's what it is, isn't it? We have to make the choice. We have to press in. We have to be willing to hear the Lord's voice, to listen and obey, and then to do what He's calling us to do. Maybe it's simply a change of heart, a change of perspective in your own life. Or maybe it's something quite tangible, like going to see your neighbor or whatever. The Lord knows what He's asking you to do. You know what the Lord is asking, what He is asking you to do. I pray that you would listen and that you would check your focus, check your attention. Make your face like Sam's face when he was stopped at the mounting block, locked on me, asking, is this right, Papa? Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon as we possibly can in real life.